Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wandering Podcast, where we take advisement from outside the box. I'm Rihanna Ritter, your host. I'm an intuitive, sexuality, and authentic expression coach. Are you an accomplished professional who plays the part of having it all figured out? Who's strong for everyone else, but feels lonely, misunderstood, like you can't tell anybody the truth about how stressed you are, how not passionate you are about your life and all that you've created? I guide my clients to deep, lasting fulfillment. I re-engage them with their bodies, their pleasure, their desire. I help them align to enjoy fulfillment and prosperity in all areas of their lives. Today, my guest is Kavita Sahai. She's a passionate advocate for women's mental wellness and the visionary founder of Vibes Tribe. Welcome, Kavita. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So tell us about Vibes Tribe, what it is, and what inspired you to create it.
Yeah. So Vibes Tribe is a platform for women in their midlife that's full of hundreds of different classes for different natural modalities. And so it kind of came about because I found myself one day exhausted and brain fog and just all sort of these symptoms that I was told were sort of just normal for the age or being a mom or, whatever. And my blood work was fine. And so of course I must be fine. And I'm just being dramatic or what have you. And I just felt like this couldn't possibly be how I was supposed to just spend my life, like in this fog of exhaustion. Like I was just always tired. And I think it really hit me when I was saying something to my kid and I was about to say I'm tired, but they just finished the sentence. They're like, oh, because you're tired. I was like, oh, that's just not good. That's not who I want to be. I don't want to be tired. And so I started to explore, different modalities. I had first started with aromatherapy, and then I got into yoga. So I ended up getting certified in aromatherapy, yoga, Ayurveda, optimal nutrition. I kind of went all in because with each tool, I started to feel significantly better until one day I was like, wow, I'm not tired at all. I'm actually really vibrant and very clear on my goals and what I want to do and, purposeful and joyous. And it sort of came about gradually as I incorporated a lot of these things. And so I felt like, why isn't this available to people? Like, why was it so hard? It was really because I took significant space and time in my life to go and do this deep learning, which I know a lot of people don't have the time or money or space for. And so I wanted to create a platform where the content was really curated specifically for women in midlife, because in today's world, physical and mental health for women are not looked at differently. Like we're too complicated because of our cycles that they just never bother to include us in any of the scientific studies. But in ancient times, they did. And so a lot of these ancient modalities, they do take into account that women's hormones and bodies and brain go through very different things at different stages in life. And so I collected these experts, they created these courses and journeys and different things work for different people, but for, less than a cup of coffee a week, you can learn and join. And we do live events every month so that you can really emerge into whatever the new topic is we're introducing. And so that's sort of what Vibes Tribe is and how it sort of came about.
Awesome. That's wonderful, because I also had, a lot of trouble finding those types of tools. It's not what's recommended in mainstream. And like you pointed out, we're kind of told that's what we should expect. We're being dramatic. And, when a being is so complex, like we actually create life and bring life into the world. So of course we have to be complex. But if you can't explain it through science because it's too complex, you just dismiss it.
Yeah.
And that's not at all, obviously not fair, not what we need.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to have something that's so accessible for women and that makes it easy. And we just want people to know about it, right? Because why was it so hard for us to find it?
Right. Well, because no one's talking about it, right? Until you start putting conversations. And I think that's what's so great about what you're doing. And so many women now, there's like the menopause revolution. But I want to say 2-3 years ago, nobody was talking about the fact that these different changes were happening in a woman's body, both mentally and physically, that could really affect how you feel. Like there's a huge overwhelm in anxiety, depression, and that manifests into different symptoms like hair loss and weight gain and all these different things that you might never have experienced before. And all of a sudden you're like, I've never had anxiety in my life. And why am I dealing with this right now? And so I do feel like there needed to have been these conversations so people knew that, okay, this is something that happens. And here are like the 10 things I can do.
Yeah. And then there's this aspect of, I don't know, we reach a certain age and we've already been trying to go, try to be really masculine because that's what's encouraged in the Western world. And it kind of builds up and it creates like a toxic actual physical environment in our body and also a toxic emotional environment in our body. So we're full of cortisol. And then it starts manifesting in physical symptoms because we think we're supposed to be superwoman, like we're the career woman, we're the perfect mother, we're a great wife, we're supposed to be like awesome and sexy and beautiful all the time. And then, but all we do all day is compare ourselves to other women who are probably way younger and don't have anywhere near the same life stresses that we have. That's
100%. And that's why I think it really comes down to mindset. And we have a lot on that because you really have to, it's like rediscover your relationship with yourself and your feminine being. And that's really why it's tailored to women, because it's exactly what you're saying. We're trying to be all things to everyone. We feel this sense of, if we're not doing, we're not worthy, right? So we're always in, what can I do for someone? What can I do? And really it comes down to your own self-love. Like you have to love yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first. But we're so accustomed to society telling us, no, you have to give first and do first and be first, that this really is this practice that you gift yourself to say, no, it's really about building self-love, which was actually the expert we launched this month was all around self-love. And we did this great live call on it. But that really is, that was the sentiment that came out from a lot of members. They felt like they never thought about it to themselves, like they weren't good enough, but their actions, that's what they were sort of doing because they were constantly giving from an empty cup.
Yeah, it's interesting how many of us don't think that we have a self-worth issue. And nobody wants to admit that. Like that feels like, ooh, then I'm going to have to dive into my childhood and figure out where that comes from or see what's going on in my relationship that's making me feel worthless. And, in my case, I was really overweight. I was like 60 pounds overweight and I was putting on kind of protection because I had a partner that was just had like disdain and disgust for me. And I think there was a competition element and it was interesting, just strange. And, he had anger issues with his mom from the way that things went in childhood. And he has no idea that that's true. So these are the kind of things you discover when you start doing your own inner work and you understand, oh, okay, why did I attract that kind of partner? Well, because of all the things in my upbringing that was the example set to me, that was what's available, a partner that finds a woman's emotions disgusting and irritating and shameful. And so if you're a person who's putting on a lot of weight, we always go to diet and we always go to exercise and we always say it's that I'm not doing enough.
Right.
I'm doing it wrong because there's somebody selling something that's telling me if I did this, then it would be better. But it's usually not those two things because I didn't change those two things at all. I just ended the marriage and I lost all of that excess weight very quickly.
Right. I know it's amazing how much we are connected to our emotional body that we don't realize it. Like so much of pain is actually stress that we're holding in our body. And so people will complain of, debilitating back pain or neck pain. And it really there's no injury. It's just stress that they're holding and trauma that they're holding in their body. One of the exercises we did was, say something that you were told as a kid, like money doesn't grow on trees. What does that do to your mindset, right? It doesn't give you an abundant mindset because money doesn't grow on trees. And so it's really, you do have to do the work. But once you've done the work and you've done it in a way, I think sometimes we make it seem like a to-do, like, oh, I got to do work. But no, it's like, I get to do this deep work. I get to reflect. I get to do that in community with other women, or I think all of that, we have to make it less of a to-do and more of this joyous act of self-care that we're doing.
Yeah, because it really feels good to do it. We call it work, but it really is, it brings a lot of pleasure. It brings a lot of relief and softness. Like, we're all craving a bit of softness, I think. We're not getting enough of that. And to deny that, I mean, that's what we are. And then to deny that is like just going to be extremely painful and stressful.
I know. It's like we've withheld pleasure, right? And it's like we feel guilty, whatever that might be. Like, they call it the guilty pleasure, but really no, it's like we have to rediscover pleasure, because from that we're going to get energy.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're just work. I mean, it's not like, we talk about patriarchy and capitalism and stuff like that. And it's not like that was that just works for men.
Yeah.
Like, for men's bodies and their energy, like, they are designed to go penetrate the world, right? And being that, that kind of, that women aren't in part of clinical trials, like that just is a demonstration of, well, the men decided and the women went along with it, whether they had a choice or not is, obviously there were some reasons why we didn't. And there were some reasons why we may have just got along with it because we believed that that was the right thing to do. Maybe that was what we were told up until that point, a couple thousand years ago when it all started. But it's not like, I wouldn't say it's like this evil thing that was intentionally, like, we were, sometimes there are elements of that.
Intentional. I think it was inconvenient, right? So if you're studying the body and the women have cycles, you're like, well, that's a variability. Let's take them out of the study, right? It wasn't convenient to worry about what was happening with our hormones, except for our ability to reproduce, right? Like, a lot of research went into how do we make sure that women can reproduce and have babies? But beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot to go into that second part of life, right? Where it's like, okay, well, what happens when your hormones tank? What happens to women? It's pretty drastic, right? Like you said, we are these goddesses that create life. And at some point that system starts to slow down and retire. And it's not in a bad way. It's not in a, you're done and that's it. It can be still this beautiful part of life where now you get to focus all of that energy inwards on yourself. But it's a transition. And just like it's really uncomfortable to be pregnant and give birth, I think it's really uncomfortable to go through this transition period when your hormones and your body are kind of getting used to this like new normal.
Yeah. So tell us about your work around menopause. I don't hear about that at all.
Yeah. So, I think, so perimenopause is hard to define. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm gaining weight. I don't feel right. Like, there's no really good clinical definition of what perimenopause is. Menopause is, I haven't had a period in 12 months. So that's like a very clear thing. But I think women can be in menopause for many years. And the biggest thing to me has been, you really have to manage your stress. And it's very possible that you're more easily stressed or overwhelmed than you were before. And so it really is about finding the practice that's going to ground you, because if you can really manage your stress, it will help with all your symptoms. And as we know, in general, stress is the cause of most disease. So getting a really good handle, and part of what I tell people is, even if you're not stressed now, if you don't practice, when you are stressed, it's not going to be the right time, for example, to start box breathing. Like, if you don't have a daily practice of box breathing, all of a sudden you're having a panic attack. At that moment, you're not going to be able to recall that tool. So you have to build your toolbox so it's there when you need it. It's not going to just magically like, oh, well, when I'm stressed, I'll worry about it. No, if you're not great, start the practice now, building that practice. And then when you do find yourself in situations, which might happen on a daily, you're calm, your body is not, you're not deregulating your whole system, because you can come from such a point of peace. So like you were saying, like you were in a relationship with a lot of anger and misdirected emotions is what it sounds like. If you're in a place of such calm and knowing, and you've really done the reflection of yourself to know who you are and what the stories that are true and the stories that are not true, you can really block it. It can really not affect you at all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there are times when there was a point where I was doing the work and I was able to get to that place where I just was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. And then the next kind of layer of work was coming on, and I was dealing with the next layer of like deep shame and pain. And then I was like, okay, I cannot spend my energy blocking this person anymore. I have to exit this situation to get to the next place that I need to be. And so like, it's just interesting how it cycles. I think we all think that if we do the work, it's going to be like a goal-oriented thing, just like the rest of life, like a career or whatever. But it comes in layers. It doesn't mean like I can call on my tools, and I'm so grateful that I have the tools. But if I don't continuously practice, like you're saying, I start to lose them. And even though I have them, I can like now that I'm feeling my emotions instead of just stuffing them down, they're a lot more intense.
Yeah.
So I can get into a story, and I'm by no means like this enlightened Buddha. Like I can get into a story and start believing it and get myself so worked up. But I can feel all the pain in my body. And what's great, one of the best tools that I've learned is to just feel that pain in the body instead of trying to make it go away, trying to distract, trying to escape. Like if you sit there and you feel it, it'll start just to dissipate, right? The energy gets to move.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's right. And I think sometimes it's important to note, where are you feeling it in your body, right? And what can it mean? And I think that's the thing. It's like you want to approach it with curiosity and this make it more of a self-discovery, like a fun adventure you're going on to really discover who are you. What does different things mean to you? It's really this time for deep reflection and exploration.
I love that frame. Like it is exploration and it is fun, and it is about curiosity. Like a lot of us get really afraid of a repressed memory coming in and it just completely destroying us. That's generally not how it works. I do, retrieve suppressed memories at times.
Sure.
And I'm like, ooh, but it's really just like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same. People think they're going to relive it and it's going to be the same as it was back then. And it just isn't, because you're not there. Like,
that's right. And then it takes the power away from it. Right. And so until you get to a point where you can breathe through all of it and you can no longer hold that trauma. And that's so good for your body, because whether we want to recall it or not, we're holding it in our body.
Yeah. And it's driving our behavior every day.
That's right. That's right. And so the more we free it and move it and shake it, however that might be, whether that's, breath work, whether it's movement, whether it's meditations, like there's so many different modalities. We even just did one on feng shui and like how you can energetically set up your room to help just really help you be your best self.
I like how you mentioned earlier too, that this is a point in life where you get to take care of yourself and focus on the inward journey instead of taking care of necessarily like young children or all this stuff out here. And that empty nest syndrome, I think a lot of that is that feeling of well, if I don't have these people that I have to take care of every day, then I don't have a purpose. I don't have worth.
That's right.
And
that's the story that like society and what we've learned, like if we're not doing, then we're not worthy. And again, it comes back to that I'm only worthy if I'm doing for my kids, my husband, but it's like we were born worthy. And this is that time that you deserve to figure out how to be your best self, to just be a light in the world.
Yeah. I'm curious what you were doing before you found this stuff.
Oh gosh. So I was actually in private equity and investment banking. I was working 100 hours.
Yeah.
I probably had like 2 home cooked meals in like 3 years.
Wow.
Drank more coffee than water. So I was obviously not going down the right path. I was not honoring, I would say, the feminine energy and really just trying to duplicate whatever I was seeing, which I've only worked with men. So that was a lot of that pace. But what I realized is when I slowed down and actually took care of myself, I could get just as much done as somebody who was just pulling all those all-nighters. Like getting a good night of sleep made me way more productive and efficient. So it was interesting to go through all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I find too. And I actually still struggle with it. It's that I can get more done in 3 to 4 hours now than I could in 12 hours before. And I feel like I'm lazy. Like those stories keep coming up. I keep getting into like this stress cycle of, oh, you don't do enough. Oh, you sleep too much. Oh, because those stories run deep. They're old and they've been going on for a really long time. And it's just amazing. So
you just have to, it's like reprogramming with an affirmation, because I'm the same way. I was definitely born like a doer, like always be doing something, and to be productive meant you were working all the time. And so to go from that to sort of this reduced hours, or I would even say just normal 40-hour work week, like it just became like, it's like, oh, what are you doing? You have so much time. Where's the other 60 hours, right? But through that process, every time the thought would come that you should be doing more, I'm like, I'm being a light in the world. And that is, and to do that, to be a light in the world, you have to take time to be calm and work inwards. Otherwise, you're that pissed off person who got cut off and is like cursing. And I'm like, really? Is it that bad? Like, is it that upsetting?
Yeah.
So
I'll be in the grocery store and like noticing that I don't need to walk so fast. I don't need to go so fast. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to stand behind that person who's looking on the shelf and be like, are you going to move? Like, not saying anything, but putting out that energy of like, you're in the way.
So, because what you're doing is then you're being that light, right? You're being the energy of calm. And we all know that we have energy, because you can walk into a room and either be uplifted, or you can walk in a room and be like, oh, they just sucked the energy out of me, right? So we know that we all have energy. And so just being positive, great energy, that is enough. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's something that I think it's kind of rare. Like you don't see it everywhere. You
don't.
You certainly,
but when you meet someone with it, right? Like when you meet someone who's just really vibrating at a high frequency, you feel good. Like you leave and you feel good. And so whenever a thought comes to my head, I'm like, oh, but I want to be that person, forever. That's my contribution. Like that is the purpose.
Yeah. And that does require me to rest and go inward and eat well and
all the things.
Yeah. I was on a coaching call. It was like a community call. And I had that question to our fitness coach. Basically, I was just like, how much time in the day are you guys spending on meditation, reading? Like, because I'm finding that it's like half of my day now. And I was having guilt about that. And and so the answer was, this is how your life has changed.
Right.
You are changed. You have a different path than you thought you had.
Yeah.
And so now you have to support that. And the way you do it is not by clocking into your computer from 9 to 5.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I think part of it is just we have to reprogram our story. Like it's got to be like, I get to, and I'm doing such a good job taking care of myself. And, you know, I am so unique and was brought into this world, and taking care of myself is the greatest gift in this moment I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of your other classes are breath work,
So we have breath
meditation.
work, meditation, yoga, chair yoga. We have Ayurveda, feng shui. We have a whole self-love course as well, of course. And we're always every month we're bringing on new experts to come in and to share what they have learned to be an effective method, a natural modality for women in midlife.
That's beautiful. I think something that's coming up for me is like, we don't want to treat these practices as like, oh, I'm just going to do my workout for the day. And I think that's what women do. Like, I think the way we approach self-care is, well, it's kind of like what you said earlier, to do something. I'm doing this for myself because it's good for me. But I think we focus very much on it's physically active. I'm checking the exercise box.
Yeah.
And that's not how we get the most out of it.
Right. And that's where it's about more like, I wonder how I'm going to feel after this practice. I wonder if this is going to work for me. I wonder if this is going to fill me with joy. Or if it's like we have a journaling one, like I wonder if I could sit with tea every day and what would come for me. And I think when people really get curious, one, they get present because you're actually checking in with your body to see like, how do I feel before? How do I feel after? And you start to then say, oh, okay, this felt good, or this was okay. I'm neutral. But just taking stock of how you are is becoming present and is going to help. And I think that's what helps, again, connect us to ourselves. But I really think even with the gym and everything else, you really have to be like, how do I feel? Like, I wonder how today's workout's going to make me feel.
Yeah.
Other than I got to work out because someone said I got to do it 3 times a day, or I got to get my 10,000 steps in, or, whatever it is. Like, really just change the mindset to be more around, I wonder.
Yeah. Not so focused on the statistics, the calorie burn, but like when you're actually doing even just a workout, like if you're lifting weights, can you be present with the burn in your muscles? Because if you're just doing reps and you're thinking about something else and you're counting them, it's not going to be as effective. Your muscles are not going to change as much as if you're actually present with the sensation, like the burn, and seeing if you could do one more rep, or if you could do a heavier set or hold it longer. Like, that's where change happens. It doesn't, like, you need to be mentally focused on your muscles changing and be present with the activity and all the things that are going on that make that happen, rather than just, I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm here doing the thing and I can't wait to leave.
No, 100%, because then you're not there, right? You're just, and that's where I'm like, and by the way, if you hate it, try something else. And that's why I feel like it's really important to show so many different types, because not everything works for everyone. I have a friend who loves to run. I hate to run. Like, I don't want to feel the burn while I run, right? It's miserable. I don't want to be. And so I'm always like, the best exercise is the one you'll do.
Yes.
Find what you love and then be very present to it.
Yeah. And that's the same with these practices. Like, I can be funny about breath work. Like, my introduction to breath work was a big, like a holotropic hour-long breath work. That was my first time doing it. So I was like, ooh, breath work. I don't know. Because that's a big journey. Like, it's not just physical, but it's like emotional, spiritual. There's past life stuff going on. It's like, it's a long thing. So I didn't want to do breath work for a while. And then I, started studying with a different teacher, and she was like, just take 30 breaths. And I was like, 30 breaths? What's that going to do? And I found out that it didn't actually, I didn't have less of a journey through breath work if I had a shorter one or a less intense one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
we have varying, because for the same reason as you mentioned, that's very intense to start off with. We have them as little as, 3 minutes to 30 minutes, right? Like it's varying. And our breathwork teacher, she is amazing. So she gives so many different options, because certain types of breathwork are not comfortable for people who are not used to really breathing deep. And, but if you go through it gradually, again, you're like, how do I feel? Oh, I feel light. I feel like I've released some of the trauma in my body, or then you do a little more, and then, kind of build from there. But I can't imagine my first experience being an hour long. That would be so crazy.
It was, but I also was like, wow, this is magic. Like,
yeah, it is magic.
I experienced magic, and I was like, whoa, I definitely know I'm going to do it again, but I don't know how often.
Yeah, 100%. I also love breathwork.
Yeah. I did ayahuasca as well, and that was also like, okay, I'm not one that's probably going to do it 18 times, like, but it's also like that experience of magic, like that connection to the plants and the earth and the like spirit, and seeing beyond just what's physically available for us to see. It was just awesome and cool, and also really challenging at times and really fun at other times.
I've never done it. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah, it's a long journey too, but I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so like that's a pretty intense amount of religious programming, like to be born into and raised in. Like, if you're an adult and you join a church like that, it's different, because you already have, you're not a child. You're not in a state of,
you're making an instant decision. Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that, intense stuff, because the religion was so intense. I learned to be very intense. So I get very intense about my practices. It's funny, but I've tried a lot of things because of that, which is a gift. And it's also, it's just funny to try to learn to not stress myself out, to not go so intense.
Right.
To do things that I actually enjoy. So going back to your point about whatever the practice or the exercise is, if you're not enjoying it, there is something else available. And again, back to pleasure. This is about pleasure. It's not about a checkbox and a to-do list and doing the thing because it looks like you're getting something done.
That's right. And I think women have really suppressed that. And it's really like when I say, how do I feel? Like, is there pleasure? Is there joy? Is there like, am I evoking my feminine energy?
Yeah. And I mean, that's, I think, what we're ultimately trying to do. When you're a person who has worked, I was in accounting. Yeah. And so if you're doing this very, I guess it's a pretty masculine job. If you're working long hours and you're doing these very serious or high stress jobs, you don't really get to be in your feminine energy much. So if, that's the career path that you've chosen and you're going to discover this part of you, it's like we all need to have some balance in our masculine and feminine energy. And it totally makes sense for men to do a lot of masculine stuff, and they may not need as much of that feminine, but they do need to embrace their feminine energy. It's part of everybody.
It is 100%. But I think it's become very hustle culture, like all of that masculinity has taken over media. And so I think that's where you really have to provide this call to, I think I'm going to do nothing today, but look at magazines and really think about, like, does this bring me joy? Am I feeling this sense of like pleasure and joy and doing whatever it is?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's really helpful too for men, because I'm in community with men who do these practices, and we all do it together. And I've noticed that they have a lot more patience for emotion and
Yeah.
for holding space for women, and they have more reverence for women. They treat us better. I've noticed that men that don't do these types of practices, who aren't connected with their feminine energy at all, are just like, they still have that same thing that I found in myself, this disgust for emotion and femininity, and like not being structured, like the wild flow energy that is feminine.
Yeah.
It's just like too chaotic, and it doesn't check the boxes, and I don't like it. I find it disgusting. And so if you're a woman with a man who has that kind of strong polar masculine energy, it might bring out more of your polar feminine energy.
Yeah.
And then he often can't hold it. He can't be a container that has reverence for it and directs it. And he just is like, ugh.
People have to learn how to hold space for each other. And to do that, you have to be comfortable with doing nothing in a sense, right? To just be, so that you have that space for someone else's energy. But you're right. If they never practice it, or they never come into understanding that, it's very hard.
Yeah. And we have, different cultures where they are not so addicted to doing.
Yeah.
And they actually just sit and talk together, and they understand that the importance is the human connection that they have within their community. And they don't seem to be as freaked out by wild feminine power.
That's right. In fact, they like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's I think that, this comes down into sexuality. Like, when there's no polarity and the women have to be so masculine, like, there's not many people enjoying sex. Like, there's not a lot of turn on or attraction.
That's right.
So
well, I think it's very hard to enjoy if either or both partners are stressed, right? And if you're not embracing both energy types, you are essentially stressing out. So you're not present to the touch, to the energy, to the energetic bodies of each other, right? Like it's almost impossible.
Yeah. And there's a lot of dissociation, I think, in sex. From what I've seen, there's like not really looking each other in the eye, maybe fantasizing that you're somewhere else with someone else, or even like for me, I didn't even want myself to be involved in it because of the religious programming and stuff, very intense around sexuality. I didn't even want to see myself as a sexual being at that time. And so I would imagine that it was him and not even him, 2 other people.
Wow.
And it was like, I was so disconnected from it. And it wasn't good, obviously. It was just like, let's get this over with. I'm doing this because it's my job as a woman to give this to my husband. Like, that was something we learned in the religion, that a woman, it's her job to do that. She should do it whenever he wants and however he wants. And and I think most Christian fundamentalist religions teach that.
Wow.
And so there are a lot of women out there who believe that. And I've joined some religious trauma groups on Facebook. And I've seen them posting things like that. And there's so much rage.
Yeah. As there should be. Because what a thing to teach. That seems like, I wonder who wrote that part of the religion.
Yeah. Someone who really hates his mother.
What? Yeah, no. Well, it's funny. One of the experts we're looking to bring on this summer is in Tantra. So, and again, helping women rediscover that sexual feminine energy that might have been suppressed for whatever reason, and the power that really can come with it, both not just for sexually, but just even just your life force energy for running your day.
Yeah, I mean, that energy is down in the root and sacral chakras, and it's part of the very basis of our life and existence. It's our creative energy, not just sexually, not just for babies, but like creative, like writing a poem or having a business idea.
Correct.
Like, so to have that shut down and wonder why your business isn't working.
Right. Right. No, it's really, it's a really important energy center for women. And so I'm excited to have her come because I think it's going to really, be exciting in lots of ways. So.
Yeah, totally. It's very exciting. So where can people find you? How do they find Vibes Tribe? And
so it's vibestribe.co, so vibestribe.co, and we do free live events every month. So if you go to the website, and you could sign up on Eventbrite for like a free event, so you can kind of see what we're all about, or you can join the membership. And we always give free gifts at these events to members, so you make up your membership fee also, just because we're always giving gifts off our site.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And just for if people are driving, what's the link to find you?
It's vibestribe.co.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for being here. Do you have anything you want to leave the audience with? Any final words of wisdom? Or
I would say, if you're not feeling amazing, if you're not feeling vibrant and joyous, just keep trying and really approach life with curiosity, because that's how you're meant to be feeling.
Beautiful. Yes. Curiosity and self-compassion and self-love are just, so imperative.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.